Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, my name is Fatma Oka Askadina and I shall be talking to you about conversation. In here, I'm going to have a little chat and explain how to have a good conversation. Starting a relationship, be it friendship, romance, work, even brotherhood, always starts with opening a conversation. Sounds easy, of course, but for some people, opening the conversation and keeping it going for a long time is not an easy thing. You have heard a lot of advice about this, such as looking the other person in the eye, thinking about interesting topics to discuss face to face, nodding and smiling to show that you're listening, and so on. Well, I want you to forget all that. It's all trash. So I want you all to learn to have a conversation without wasting time, without getting bored, and last but not least, without offending anyone. So there are 10 basic rules. I'll walk you through them all. But even you just pick one and get the hang of it, you'll already enjoy a better conversation. The 10 rules for having a better conversation are: number one, for the first is don't multitask. The meaning of that, you must be present with your mind. You really have to be in the moment. Don't think about anything else and don't do anything else. If you want to leave the conversation, leave the conversation. Next, number two is enter every conversation assuming you have something to learn. Don't just try to get your point across. Everybody is an expert in something. You should enter every conversation assuming you will learn something. The famous psychiatrist Scott Peck said that to really listen, we need to put our selfish aside. And sometimes that means putting your personal opinion aside. If the speaker feels accepted, they will feel more secure and more likely to open up their deepest thoughts to the listener. And number three, use open-ended questions like who, what, when, where, why, or how. In this case, take the example of journalists. Start with who, what, when, where, why, or how. If you ask a complicated questions, you will get a short answer. Let them describe it. They are the ones who know. Try asking things like, what did it feel like? How does it feel? Because then they'll probably stop and think and you'll get a more interesting response. And number four is go with the flow. Thoughts will come into your mind and go out of your mind. Let them go. Don't think for 2 minutes about a clever questions to ask. That means there will be things that come to your mind and you need to let them go. For example, if you is talking to someone and then you remember something, then you have to let that thing go from your mind. And next, number five is if you don't know, say you don't know. Be careful. You have to be honest with what you all say. Next, number six, don't equate your experience with theirs. Don't compare it. It is never the same. It's not about you. Don't take that moment. Conversations are not a promotional opportunity. If they tell you about the loss of a family member, don't tell them when your relative died. It's not the same, never the same. All experiences are personal. And more importantly, it's not about you. You don't have to take the opportunity to prove how great or how miserable you are. Number seven, it is try not to repeat yourself. It's demeaning and boring, and we tend to do it a lot. especially in conversation about work or, for example, parents with their children, because they want to emphasize a message so that they keep repeating it. Don't do it. Number 8, not beat around the bush. They don't care. All they care about is you. They want to know what you are like, what you have in common. So forget the details. Leave it. And next, number 9 is listen. No man ever listened his way out of a job. We don't listen with the intent to understand. We listen with the intent to replay. It's not the last, but it's the most important. Listen. Countless great people say that listening is probably the most important skill you can learn. And the last, speak briefly. The last point is speak briefly. So having a conversation doesn't need to be at length, and talk about it is not necessary. The important thing is that the meaning you want to convey can be captured by the person we are talking to. To sum up, then, the main aspects of this are all points boil down to the same basic concept: be attracted to other people. Do the same, get out there, talk to people, listen to people, and most importantly, be prepared to be amazed. Thank you again for giving me this chance to speak to you. I'm sorry if there are some mistakes. See you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.